I really for a while now have wanted to talk about the difference between books and ebooks, because I see a lot of booktubers who will sort of, like, recently there was a challenge posted by Books and Quills for a month that was probably like 2 months ago, to read only books that you don't prefer. Like, if you prefer print books, then read ebooks. If you prefer ebooks, then read print books. And I can't come down one side or the other, so I really want to talk about, for me, the advantages and the disadvantages of each and why I love both of them equally. We'll start with print books because they've been around longer. So the main advantage of print books, in my opinion, is that they look incredibly pretty. Like, let me just show you my bookshelf. So because I'm at uni, literally the entirety of what you can see before you is my bookshelf. So that's my small, in comparison to all of my books, collection that I have at university, which I really love having, like, them there so that I can stand here and go, what do I want to read next? So yeah, basically for me, the main advantage of print books is that they look pretty. And that is basically the entire basis of my Etsy. And almost in a continuation of that theme, this is my e-reader case. Because even with e-readers, I can't escape pretty covers. And this is my e-reader. Because I'm a hipster, I have a first generation Nook, which weren't available in the UK. I was on holiday in America and I bought this because I love them. The main advantage of e-readers, in my opinion, as a university student who obviously travels back and forth from home and university and also travels a lot around the country to visit friends, this has like hundreds of books on it and I can just carry it around and I can not worry about it getting damaged because it's a lot sort of more hard wearing than a book, because I get really like, don't bend the corners, don't do that with my books. Yeah, especially with this, it's got a micro SD card in the back, so I can basically expand the memory indefinitely and just have all the books that I own on here at any one time, which is excellent, because when I'm at university and the one shelf that I have of print books, I can just go online. I mean, I could go online and buy books, because that's what I did with the James Bond ones the other day. Sticking with advantages, but switching back to print books, I think another big advantage of print books is bookshops, because you can go in and it's like looking at a shelf and going, what do I want to read? Except it's a whole shop full of, what do I want to read? Books make really good presents. I really love giving books as presents, and I really love getting books as presents. Because when you give someone a book as a present, you really have to think about sort of what do they like and whether or not they will like this specific book and whether they've read it or not, and all sorts. So I really love the idea of books as presents, and that doesn't really work as well when it's an ebook, I don't think. Like, it's really nice to give a physical present, and when it's like a really lovely copy of a book that you really think they'll enjoy, I just think that that's a great present. Also, you can lend books to people or just pass them on without any intention of getting them back, or donate them to charity and stuff like that. Like, they have physical beings so that they can travel. And back to ebooks for some quickfire advantages. Depending on where you get them from, you can kind of re-download them, and if you lose them, like if you lose the file off the e-reader, then you can still have them on the computer, or you can re-download them from wherever you got them, depending on where you get them. I'm going to talk about that later because there are some annoyances that I have on that topic. I'm not really sure whether this is a separate point, but it is basically like having a portable bookshelf, because you know, you can switch all your books around, and I know I've got basically unlimited space on there, but if you don't, you can like switch everything around so you can have the books that you feel like having at the minute, but you can have loads of them. My disadvantages are a lot sort of smaller, really, and a bit more quickfire, which is probably a good thing. So print books, they're big and bulky and heavy and take up space, so there are so many situations in which that is a massive annoyance. If you're like me and you live in fear of your book collection getting damaged, they're quite easily damaged sometimes. Like, you can scuff them and bend the covers and lose them, so that's an annoyance at times, but only really if you're really about keeping them nice, which I entirely am. I think they're probably more expensive than ebooks, depending, because Yeah, again, this is something that I'd like to talk about more, but ebooks can be just as expensive as print books, but sometimes aren't. Disadvantages of ebooks kind of linked to like bookstores. You can't really do that with ebooks. Like, you just get a page of results of whatever, like, yeah, sure, you've got the little picture of the cover and there's a bit of a blurb, but it's not quite the same. And another thing as well is that, like, sometimes I'll pick up a book just because it's big or small, depending on like what I fancy reading, and there's sort of no real way to judge that with an ebook because it's just a picture on a page if you're buying it online or whatever. Fairly obviously, e-readers have batteries, so they die sometimes. Like, last night I was like, oh, I feel like reading. I'm not currently reading anything. What could I start reading? Let's have a look through the library on my Nook. Oh, it's dead. I'll have to wait until the morning to see what I'm going to read, because I'm going to have to charge it up. So that is all. I'd love it if people could give their opinions on whether they prefer print books or ebooks and why, or whether they have no preference, down in the comments. I know that no one talks to me when I say this, but I'm going to continue to say this as though I have like lots of subscribers and things. So do that. If you're watching this, do that. Do that. I stand here and make a fool of myself on camera and then put it on the internet for the whole world to see, and so that it's immortalised in time. So the least you can do is comment and tell you whether you prefer ebooks or print books. I will see you next time. TTFN. Sorry, someone just walked past my window and they probably think I'm a freak.